I love Costco.
We should get into the Costco. I hate it.
I have a love-hate with Costco.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually writing a song about Costco.
Really?
About just the rage that it brings out of
Yeah.
me. Like, people are the worst
Yeah.
at Costco. But at the same time, I can buy like gourmet cheese for like a bulk gourmet cheese for $15.
Yeah.
You know, like their cuts of beef, I cook a lot.
Yeah.
So their beef is like super good.
I've heard really good stuff about the meat and like steaks at Costco.
It
like
is
I think they have a
phenomenal.
good quality
Yes.
like meat compared to like say Walmart. And like obviously like you get it at like a kind of a bulk price too. So I've heard really raving news about Costco steaks and beef.
It's fantastic.
What kind of music do you make?
Punk. We play punk. Yeah. Yep.
Are you a guitarist?
I do vocals and guitar. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're no stranger to a microphone?
No, not at all. No, I've been in front of a mic plenty of times. Never for a podcast or an interview. I was a little nervous coming into this, honestly, because I was literally like, well, what happens if I just go in there and I just hit a wall mentally and I'm like,
That's what I was getting into last night too. And
know.
even though we've done a couple of them now, like if you include the sound check, 3 of them, and they all went great, right? Like that couldn't have gone any better. And then, but last night, like I said, at Bill's house, I was just like, what if? And the same thing, I was just like, so we have nothing to talk about. But then I like,
or what if I was just like super lame?
Yeah.
Like what if you started this and I was just like some kind of asshole?
Yeah.
Or I was just like really dumb?
That'd be funny too.
Then the duration of the video goes from an hour to 15 minutes. Maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully dumb enough to where you wouldn't catch on us making jokes about you.
Oh gosh.
Or we would just,
Maybe that's what's happening now.
that could be what's happening.
Oh man,
we would probably.
This is getting
If
deep.
that ever does happen, what we're going to do, so the listeners, if this ever happens, you see this happen, they were a really lame guest, we're going to cut them off at like 20 minutes, and then we're going to finish up just me and you, Drew. Yeah, so Jerry had to leave early today. That's a shame. He was doing great.
Just you two on the back here.
Yeah.
Ooh. So let's replay this one.
Oh, Jerry was dumb.
Or what I'll do is I'll just pretend that you're Jerry, and we'll keep talking and have a good conversation. Yeah. Yeah. How long have you been playing music?
My whole life.
Really?
Yep.
Nice. How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu?
Oh, 15 or 16 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So I actually moved to Portland, Oregon to play music and play in a band.
Moved from here?
Yeah.
You were born here?
Yeah, I was born in Wasilla.
Okay.
And so I moved to Oregon.
I can see it.
Yeah. Real classy guy here. But I moved to Oregon to play music, and that kind of fell apart.
Did you like move to Oregon like knowing you were going to join like a specific band, or you just
I
wanted
was
to
already
pursue it?
I was already in a band.
Did the whole band move to Oregon?
Yeah, we all moved to Oregon.
Oh man.
Yeah, we were pretty good, man. We were good. I think I was a little crazy at the time.
Yeah. What year was that?
2002.
Man, why not
Maybe
like
2003?
Seems like Seattle had been the place for you guys.
We knew a lot of people in Portland.
Oh, okay.
And so we moved there, and then because of myself, like I was a little wild at the time.
Yeah.
I had some screws loose. The band didn't work out.
Yeah.
And I take ownership of that. But I was always into martial arts.
Yeah.
And I was like visiting a gym in Vancouver off and on. It was a boxing gym, an MMA gym, and they had a little bit of jiu-jitsu there, and I kind of got the bug there, but their instructor wasn't like super good. He was just an MMA guy showing some moves.
Yeah.
Super cool dude.
Yeah.
And just one day, I used to play hooky from work once a month.
Yeah.
And I was driving down the street, and I looked over, and I looked into this gym, and there was all these dudes in gis, and they were practicing judo, and they were like throwing each other.
Boy.
And I was like, oh my God, that looks insane. And I went in there and I talked to the guy, and he was super, super friendly. And he's like, yeah, come back tonight. We'll give you a loaner gi.
Yeah.
And I came back that night, and I got the gi, and I did the class. And as soon as I did the class, I was hooked. I knew this is something I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
And it was a judo class?
Well, no, it was a jiu-jitsu gym.
That's just what you drove by.
But when I drove by there, they were practicing judo. They
Yeah.
were doing takedowns, and they did takedowns that night too. They were doing some judo and stuff like that. But yeah, man, as soon as my first class, I knew I was hooked.
Yeah, I felt like that too when I finally went back into the gym. So
Did you?
Yeah.
So I lived in a crappy apartment, and the gym was in a really shitty building.
Yeah.
Like nasty. But there was like an apartment flat above it. A month after I started, or a month and a half after I started Jiu Jitsu, I moved into the apartment above the gym so that I could go train more.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a huge part of my life. It's all I could talk about for like 3 years. All I talked about was Jiu Jitsu.
That's kind of how it is, though, right? Like, you either get bit by the Jiu Jitsu bug or you quit at blue belt.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's kind of like there's no real gray area. Or maybe you just kind of do it because it's like a hobby. But it seems like, man, if you really want to get good at Jiu Jitsu, you get bit by the bug. And, like, you know,
have to love it.
Yeah.
You're going to get beat up. You're going to get hurt.
Have you heard the Nick Diaz quote about MMA? Like, you have to, like, love it to hate it, or, like, hate it to love it. Yeah. Like, I feel like that's what, like, Jiu-Jitsu is. Like, I love Jiu-Jitsu so much that I hate it. Like, I hate, like, coming home after, like, getting submitted, or, like, why this move's not working, or why I'm on, like, a down streak, and, like, but you hate it so much, like, I have to get better at this.
You're obsessed with it.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Like, and like, to get great, like, you have to be obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And which, luckily, it's easy to be obsessed with, because obviously it gets a bunch of people like that. But, like, and if you're not, then are you really going to go anywhere? Are you going to be stuck at blue belt your whole life, or just never go past it, or be a white belt for your entire life and just never have that real addiction and, like, urge to get better?
I think it's big enough now where you're going to start seeing the hobbyist be a little more into it.
Yeah.
But I do still think they'll be the outlier. They're not going to be the core of it. The core of people who make it to brown belt and make it higher than that are people that are just obsessed with it. You have to be obsessed with it, man.
Yeah.
You with your knee, man. Like, you're going in there injured, not able to roll, just so you can work whatever you can work.
Yeah, true. Know? Yeah, and that's one of those things, like, obviously that's not probably the best thing to do. Like, I should probably have, like, my knees and hips looked at. But, like, I love it so much. Like, I can't even imagine taking the time off to, like, have a surgery on my knees and my hips.
I can't take time off, man.
Exactly.
I had a neck surgery, and I wasn't rolling.
Yeah.
But, you know, I couldn't stay out.
Yeah.
As soon as that thing was closed up on the back of my neck.
Yeah, you know what? I could probably just go in and drill a little bit today. Like, and that's when I'll start drilling. Like, that's when I'll actually drill, is like after a surgery or something.
You guys know Josh Branham, right?
The striking coach.
Yeah,
right?
hardcore old MMA guy.
Yeah.
A hardcore guy like that was telling me,
man,
maybe you shouldn't be in here right now.
Yeah.
No, man, I'll be fine. I'm fine.
And that's where I'm at now. Like, I think we rolled last week, and, like, my knee popped out real quick, and, like, you acknowledged, I'm like you just had to straighten.
You were? No, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like a super loud pop, but it was one of those, like, I've been around long enough. It's a little weird clicky.
It's a weird one.
Where things slip, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, you okay? I was like, no, like, I just straightened it. And
it's fine. Let's just cut it off. Let's just cut it off.
Yeah, we're fine.
Let's keep the roll going. I almost caught you. Let's just cut it off.
Let me just switch hips. I'll be good. I won't use that knee anymore. And then, so, like, it's like that. Like, I should probably have that looked at. But, like, I love it so much. Like, I just can't imagine taking the time off to, like, that could be, like, several months to recover from, or like so, like, that knee does it, and my left hip does it. If I lay wrong, I can get it to, like, go in and out. But, like, yeah, like, I don't want to take that time off. Like, what if
you should
like,
totally get that looked at?
I should probably get it looked at.
Yeah.
And that would be my thing. Like, I'd get it looked at, and that would be as far as it went. Like, he couldn't fix it that day. Like, it turns out this is unfixable for me.
Yeah, no, like with my neck, that's what that was. It went on for like 10 years that I drug this thing out, and finally I got tired of it.
And imagine how much, like, damage it does in 10 years, right? Like, obviously everything around it's now taken, like, the blunt of it, because, like, your body's going to naturally protect it. So now, like, and that's probably, like, why my hips, like, started to go bad, because, like, it starts compensating for your knees or something like that. But yeah, I just can't imagine, like, one day, like, I'll get it looked at, but, like, I need to feel like, and maybe it'll be like at black belt, but maybe not, because I don't.
You need to be totally debilitated before you'll get it looked at.
That's exactly right.
You're like me, and that's what it was.
Something's going to happen.
Well, looks like I can't move anymore. Might as well go get this checked out.
Yeah. Hey, Jerry, can you carry me in my car? It turns out that wasn't a normal crack today. That was a huge pop. But, like, once I get to a point, I feel comfortable at stopping. Like, and maybe it should be brown belt, but, like, I feel like the light's at the end of the tunnel for me. Like, I can see, like, black belt as far away as it may be. Like, I can see it. Like, I'm almost there, like, in, like, the whole, like, big picture aspect of it. But, like, then getting to black belt, am I going to be like, I can take time off now, or be like, no, I don't want to be a bad black belt when I come back?
I was just about to say that. Like, yes, the light at the end of the tunnel for black belt might be there.
Yeah.
But you're never going to reach the light at the end of the tunnel.
Right? It's like the start
until you're dead, you know. Then
that'll be it.
Then you'll go to the light.
Yeah. And that's probably how it'll be. Like, then that's the outlook I'll have. I'll get to black belt. I'm like, I'm not done yet. Like, I can still
if you notice something about like people that get black belt and people that are higher level even, or like lifelong people, they're like, I always compare people to dogs, right? Like, that's just what we do. We're work dogs, right? Yeah. Like, we're neurotic. Mm-hmm. Like before I had Jiu Jitsu, I'll say that I was a troublemaker. Yeah. You know, like, I didn't do anything really, really bad, but I was neurotic. Like, I was crazy neurotic. Yeah. And I think most people that are really, really into Jiu Jitsu have a little bit of that.
I think so.
You know, and it just gives you a place to fester. It gives you a place to just a little crack that you can just take all your attention and you can climb in there and just look around, and all of a sudden it's a world of crazy stuff.
I totally agree with that. We kind of went into that on like it might have been the sound check episode, but like you have to like have something to like make you not like that crazy on the outside. To like, I need something to like make me go to bed tonight so I can get up for jiu-jitsu, or I need something like I probably shouldn't go get into trouble and like drink all night because like I don't want to go to jiu-jitsu. Like, now I have 3 beers at night and like I'm going to feel it the next day at open mat or something like that. Like, so can you imagine like going and drinking all night at this age, especially?
So like a good Tom, the black belt that you brought by, the first time Tom came by there, I had a couple drinks the night before. And I mean, he's awesome, man. Legit. Yeah. But I was rolling with him and I was trying to like not get wrecked with this awesome black belt. And I'm like, oh, don't give it to him. Oh, no, I got to tap.
I shouldn't be here right now. I'm so glad I'm here right now, though. I deserve this for drinking last night. I deserve to get my ass
That is motivation to not drink.
Exactly.
I agree completely.
Right? Yeah. So to have something that I can just go climb into and like just to keep me like on a good path. And the same thing before I started coming back to jiu-jitsu, like, so I did like a little bit of more MMA geared towards MMA geared stuff in like 2008, 2007. Took like 9-10 years off and came back, and like in between that time, you know, like it's just like you can get in trouble, you can be like young and dumb, but you can't do that and like be physically where you need to be and mentally where you need to be to go to like perform at jiu-jitsu the next day or like do anything like really productive. So whether it's jiu-jitsu or just having like a hobby in general, like you need these things to like really keep you grounded and keep you on like the path you want to be on.
Keep you focused.
Yeah. I bet music's like a thing like that for you too, though. Though I'm sure at some point, like at a younger age, it probably led to some trouble. But like obviously being a little older, a little more mature now, like it's...
You know, dude, when you're jamming out with your buddies, especially punk rock, nothing makes you sound better than a couple of beers.
For sure.
And I'll tell you, man, when you're in the band room and you're hanging with the boys and you're drinking beers and then all of a sudden somebody rips out a sick solo and it just everybody's having fun. Like, I don't think music's a good comparison. Music and alcohol go hand in hand.
Fair point. Like you said, especially like...
And if you're out there and you're a musician and that doesn't resonate with you, you're lame. That's why it doesn't resonate with you.
Yeah, you suck. Remember,
get drunk and rip a solo.
Remember punk rock for a second, but because I want to get into this, but my buddy and Drew knows him too. But our buddy Bill, he's been into music for a few years now, and him and his coworker Jared are always jamming and bringing other people over, and
they don't drink. I inadvertently insulted Bill.
Yeah, no, I think they smoke, and like if I brought some beer over, he'd probably have a beer. Like he actually offered me a beer like last time I was over watching the fights, but
good job,
Bill. It's kind of the same thing. Like I was like, I'm probably all right, just maybe like smoking a little bit tonight, or I don't want to like. Alcohol is one of those things.
At
like,
my age, that's what I lean towards too. Right?
Exactly,
you know,
right.
like I don't like waking up and everything in moderation first.
Yes.
Right. But I don't like waking up.
But I hate moderation. That's my problem.
Yeah, no.
You know what would be great after one beer? 3 more beers.
I'm the same cloth.
Yep. So once it was able to like, and I've had my CDL for years, and my job was dependent on it. So when I was finally able to like break free and like smoke a little, I was like, this is amazing. Like I haven't been able to do this in like a decade. But anyways, as at his house, and like, you know, they're always jamming. They have some other people come over, and you know, I know that you're into music, so I was talking to him. I was like, man, I train with this guy Jerry at AGA, and I'd love to introduce you guys, and because he's like in the same thing, jamming like hard rock music, and like always sounds good, and he was up for it, but he's like, his only thing is like he just has to have a car. I guess like the people that come over to his house, like they're just like bums. Is that a real thing?
Oh, with musicians?
Is that a thing?
Oh yeah. Are you kidding me? Guys not having cars, or
it's too much of that drinking.
So the drummer and myself, we've been playing music our whole adult lives.
Yeah.
We played together. Even as kids, we played music together, and we've had several different bass players throughout the years. We've been together for like 12 years or something on this band, and we had a break where we didn't have a bass player for a while. We were just playing music together, writing music.
Yeah.
And we were auditioning people as much as you can audition people. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But there were so many people calling us up, asking us, oh, hey, can you pick me up? Oh, or even worse, there was a guy that wanted to play bass for us that didn't have a bass. I'd love to play for you guys. I've heard you before, but do you have a bass I could borrow? It's like, yo, man, we play punk, but we're grown ass men too. Yeah. Like, I can afford a bass and a guitar and whatever.
Here.
Yeah.
They probably pawned it.
Yeah.
So it's like he said that, it was kind of funny. Like, I assume like that's a general thing, like just a stereotype in like a music type of world.
Musicians are flaky.
Yeah.
And they can, not all of them.
Yeah.
But most of them.
Yeah, and that's kind of what like he led off to too.
They're flaky, they're lazy, they're prima donnas. You got to watch everybody's.
You still have like a drummer that you just play with constantly?
Yeah.
And then,
not as much as I'd like to.
Yeah. Is it just you two?
Right now,
and just whoever else happens to come in?
No, it's just been he and I for a while, not even anybody coming in. Yeah.
Nice. How often do you guys like jam and do all that?
Well, we used to do it at least once a week, but I've been back in school for a while. I just finished.
Nice.
But so just towards the tail end of it, we didn't jam at all. Just like the last 3 months, we haven't played at all.
So he plays the bass, but I think he gets into guitar and like a little bit of drums too. But I think the bass is like his main passion. Like, so man, I'd love to introduce you guys to.
So just check this out. I've had this vision for a while of a band that I want to start.
Yeah.
And I just want to have this band together long enough to make one album.
Yeah.
But I want to make a thrash band, like punk, hardcore, crazy band. And I want to call it Ringworm, and I want it to be nothing but jiu-jitsu guys, and I want it to just be about all the dumb stuff that happens on the mat, like a song about, hey bro, you said you were gonna roll light, or no heel hooks, bro, or just dumb stuff. Drinking too much the day before practice, and somebody punishes you.
That'd be fun. A whole album about that, like dedicated to it. That'd be fun. Trying to get Bill to come in. Like, we've had like a weird like thing back and forth for a couple of years, to where like he'd be like kind of mentioned, but not like, obviously like another grown man. You're like, you need to come into jiu-jitsu, but like it's one of those things like, man, if you did, I bet it'd be really cool. But at the same time, like, you're like realistic enough to be like, well, you have your own hobbies like music and maybe like lifting weights here and there and doing something. So like, you have a hobby, and that's great. But everyone should do jiu-jitsu, just plain and simple. So punk though, have you ever seen SLC punk?
Yeah, I think
anyone in that genre has.
It actually like changed my perception of things. It changed how I decided to like dress as a kid.
Did it?
Yeah, because the end, like I was all into punk rock and dyeing my hair and pins and if my parents would have let me, I would have stuffed a safety pin through my eyeball or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, when he realizes that dressing like that, I haven't seen the movie in decades.
Yeah.
But when he realizes like dressing like that is conforming in its own right.
Exactly. He makes that point at the end.
Yeah. And it actually sent me to like this weird place where I would just wear like jeans and a t-shirt with nothing on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like I would go to punk shows even as an adult, and I loved moshing. I probably wouldn't mosh now, but I would cover up all my tattoos, and I would wear like a polo shirt and like nice shoes and like nice pants. And then I'd go mosh and I'd pull my shirt off and I got all the tattoos and stuff. Yeah. And then everybody'd be like, oh, we were judging that guy and we were wrong.
Yeah. And dressing like that, and like he kind of makes the point at the end of the movie, like, well, dressing like that, like and conforming, like maybe dressing up, because I think he ended up wearing a suit and tie to work for his dad, right? Like, and he was like, well, maybe this is more punk than anything.
Yeah.
And like you're not conforming, like the plain t-shirt thing, like well, I'm not conforming to anything. I'm wearing a blank T-shirt.
Exactly.
Man, that movie was amazing. My sister introduced me to that movie. I don't know. I was probably in like middle school at the time, but every once in a while, like I'll watch it. Like it's probably been a decade since I watched it, but I used to watch it all the time. It's such a good movie.
So I know you've trained for a while, but when I started, like if you came into a jiu-jitsu gym and you were like, hey, look at this move I learned off of YouTube, you would get ridiculed.
Yeah, but now I push it.
Now I'm like, hey guys, check this stuff out. I just learned this on YouTube. Exactly. This is all I'm gonna do this week.
YouTube is such a gold mine. You remember when it was only like Budo videos, and that was like the only time like you could get like training gear off of there too. It was like one of the few websites that just started, and you could get like old Pride videos, which was cool. But like that was the website back in the day, and now there's like millions of websites and tons of content and tons of different just jiu-jitsu video contents like. Keenan has their like Jiu-Jitsu X, and then of course there's Fanatics, but like you could get all that stuff just on YouTube, and it's just like a never like the what to expect your first day in jiu-jitsu. Like there's video and content on that, and I'm sure tons of it. So and like now is like you'd be like ridiculed for like being the YouTube guy, but now like if you don't push YouTube or like if you don't watch YouTube, like you're missing out. Like just go look up any move you want to do, and you could deep dive into it for hours.
I have libraries on YouTube where you can just set up like, okay, I'll have one for back takes, and I'll be watching YouTube and I'll see a cool back take and I'll file it away there, or takedowns or chokes or arm bars or whatever. You can actually build a library and categorize how you want to train and what you want to look.
And do you go into them like you go back and watch them? So I had this problem, and I had this problem with like gis and training gear too, which I just like. When I do something, I'm like all in or I'm like all out. But so I went on this thing like of buying like training like gis, like show you real quick gis, like 14 of them at one point. And like just like I bought my first one, it was downhill from there. And I would do the same with instructionals. I had so many instructionals. I actually left them like just because I never watched them. I left them to the people who bought my house in Florida as like a housewarming gift type of thing. But and I had probably 15 to 20. And I probably only watched a handful of them. I probably had at least 10 of them I never watched. I just kept getting. And so I never actually go back and watch them. Same thing with YouTube. If I save something on YouTube or save something like on, say, Instagram or Facebook, like I never actually go back to watching it. I have to watch it right there or it just gets lost. So
I noticed that AGA had some video instructionals, if I recall correctly. Is that something you guys have been working on pretty heavily?
I wouldn't say pretty heavily. We just want to have something cataloged and documented so that our instructors and our students have something to refer to when we're having the moves of the week. If you miss something or...
So it's the same stuff you work on that week.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For like people, so if you miss a class, then you don't actually miss the class. That's really good.
Yep, exactly. I think a lot of people are doing it now, though.
Oh, yeah?
It's not just unique to us.
Yeah, it makes sense. Now that everyone that goes in there just needs like... a significant other that would be willing to let them train on them and drill on them at home watching it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like my wife would let me do that. And if she did, it'd be like, I don't know, like not the best drilling partner. Like I need specific looks, right, to do moves. And then you get those training partners who don't give you like the right looks, or they just flop, or they don't like hold posture enough, or
that is the worst.
It's the worst, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We were talking about that last one with David, right? Like when that person comes in, like it's even worse like when like you pick him to be like the demo guy, and then like I'm sorry, but I need you to leave. I need to get somebody else in here. But then like we touched on last time, like you send that person out to go be a horrible uke to somebody else during the move for the whole class now, because like I don't get the thing about it. Like I need you to put up some resistance to make it somewhat, realistic. And obviously, like, you're just not going to give me your arm and let me do this triangle or let me do this arm bar. Like, you're going to, like, I need, like, 10% resistance type of thing. And people are just like, take my arm, or they, like, hold it back so hard to where, like, they don't even let you get the arm. Like, there's, like, obviously, like, the underwhelming training partner, and then there's, like, the overwhelming one who's just not giving you the right looks because they're resisting so hard.
Or the one that fights the move in front of everyone.
Yeah.
When you're trying to demonstrate it, to me, that is the worst.
I had that.
It is awkward, like having somebody that just doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
But that's not their fault.
Yeah.
And part of getting good at jiu-jitsu is understanding how to be a good partner and give the right reactions and everything.
Yeah.
And so that's a learning process all of its own. But then you get the partner that who knows what their motivation for it is.
Yeah.
But they put up a fight while you're demonstrating it, or they put up a fight while you're drilling it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what somebody from that frame of mind is trying to accomplish.
I don't know
but
either.
that is the worst.
It's like a weird ego thing on that one. Like,
Yeah.
you're obviously here. We're here to drill, like demo the move. Like, you have to let me demo the move. Like, obviously, I'm not trying to 100% here. I don't know why you would be.
Yeah.
But I have
Yeah.
one of those situations like burned into my brain, and I think I was still a purple belt. It's like before I moved to Florida briefly, and I think at the process, like I was like borderline, like gonna get a brown belt before I moved, but I was still like, just at the end of purple. And I was demoing this move, and if when I'm a half guard, I like to just kind of like step up and go into like that headquarters position, and then you can just like X pass or something like that. But I was in there, I was like, yeah. So if I'm not like hipped in, then he can push me over. So go ahead and try to push me over. And he did it pretty lightly. I was like, see that? So I have a really bad base if I'm not like really like pushing his heels into his butt and like pulling up on his collars, and I'm not folding him up and making him comfortable. And then so I like kind of like, lightly did it and like kind of locked into position. I was like, so go ahead and try to move now. And he went like 100%. I was like, and I like tipped over. I was like, well, obviously, let's not go 100% here. Like, and I was like, and it's just burned into my brain now because I was like, people saw that like, oh, this doesn't actually work. But like, you just went like 10%, and then you went 100% when I was like, all right, we're going to lock into position. Like I said, obviously, I'm not locked in 100% to where you cannot knock me over. If you try extra hard during the demo, then yeah, you're going to ruin the move. Yes. And it just kind of ruins it for everybody. Let alone for like the instructor. They're just like, come on. And again, like, yeah, like what did you just accomplish by doing that?
So I had a guy kind of doing stuff like that. I forget what I was showing. It was a sweep or a pass or something like that. And I don't always handle things like this, but when there's that kind of hubris coming into play,
yeah.
And you look at the guy's face and there's a bit of a smirk on it, and it's like, okay, man, we're acting a fool in here.
Yeah.
I'll go to the next move down the chain.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're not teaching this, but today, if and I won't tell that guy, right? I'll just do it if you're gonna do this, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
So I'll slap a guillotine on the guy if I'm doing a pass and they do some crazy post-up thing and their neck's hanging out in space.
Yeah.
I'll slap a guillotine on them.
That's actually good, though, like, as the instructor, to have that pathway to go. Like, all right, if this guy's doing this, then, like, it just shows, like, what you're teaching. Like, it's not exactly 100%, like, you have to do this. Like, we can branch off if they do this. Because, like, every move, like, there's a counter to something. And there's, the counter to the counter. Like, if they do this, they give me this reaction. Like, everything I do is going to be reaction-based. If they give me, like, no reactions, then, yeah, we're going to continue on this pathway. But if they do this, then, like, yeah, I'm going to go guillotine. Or I'm going to switch and transition to the back or something like that. So it's like the instructor, like, just to have that. And to have the whereabouts and not be, like, frustrated. To be able to be like, all right, I'm just going to go with it. And we're going to go on the next chain. And so, I mean, that's really good. This is a nice breaking point to actually get into it, which we didn't do last time, is like we didn't like actually introduce David. So for everyone listening or watching, today's guest is Jerry Williams of Anchorage Grappling Academy, which is kind of not a weird thing, like not that the gym's weird, but it's a co-op. Can you explain like what that means compared to like other gym? Is it like just multiple people own it, or how's that work out?
So the students own it. Everybody owns it.
Oh.
Everybody knows what our money looks like. Everybody knows what everything looks like.
Is it one of those things like whatever they contribute, like their monthly dues, like just go right into the gym?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so we put some money into it. I've helped build it.
Yeah.
Grant Birmingham was the original owner.
Yeah, and anyone listening. And speak for everybody here, we miss you, Grant.
We do miss you, Grant.
And you need to come back.
Yes.
And when you do come back, we're going to announce it right here on this podcast. And Anchorage will be very happy about it.
It'll be a better place.
I can't wait. One of these days. I reach out to him every now and then, and it sounds like he's doing good and all that. But every time like I reach out, like I just want to be like, you want to come back? You want to train? You want to roll? But I feel like if like you stop doing jiu-jitsu for like any reason, like you have your own personal reason, which is kind of another thing. Like you see like a lot of people, like obviously like people get the blue belt blues, right? Mm-hmm. But like I feel like there's like a black belt blues too. Or like once you like get up to that level, like it's like I see a bunch of people, not a bunch of people, like obviously like Alaska's pretty small, but there's like a handful of black belts. Like once they get there, I feel like slowly they start to like kind of like disappear. Like, have you noticed anything like that? Or have you ever had like an encounter like that?
Yeah, I think people put too much on it, and they think that's the end of the road.
That's what I was. That's what I was thinking. Is like, I want to pick their brains and find out why. And Grant would be a good one. Like, obviously a brown belt, but I mean, I think everybody agrees. Like, you weren't really a brown belt. Like, best brown belt I've ever rolled with, and like he like inspired like my leg lock game, and like, I mean, Grant's the man. But like, so he falls into like what I'm talking about is like that black belt who just kind of like faded out. And I wonder if like for a lot of them it is like the end of the road, because like getting into like, you know, my stripes on the brown belt, or as Mr. Garness refers to them as degrees, like at a one stripe brown belt, like I'm starting to think about like the lights at the end of the tunnel for like eventually getting that black belt. And like I see a bunch of people like kind of fading out when they do get it. It's like, it'd be nice to pick their brains about like why did you leave? Like, what happened? Did you just feel like there was nothing else there? Like you've accomplished your goal? Or what the reasoning might be, or like you just, you know, you put in probably close to a decade of time. Like, are you just burnt out on it? But then there's the guys like you, Steve, and Brandon, and like all the other black belts who have like stripes on their black belts, so they obviously didn't just fade away. And it'd be nice to be like just a different mindset in the two. Like obviously, like we don't have one that disappeared on the show, but as like when you got your black belt, like did anything change, or were you just like, that's just another day, and I'm going to still go train like usual?
It definitely wasn't just any other day.
Yeah.
But I don't think anything changed.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like this is cliche, but I feel like when I got my black belt is when I really started to understand jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I started understanding positions, and I started understanding like how to hold positions. And I don't know, man. It's deep, but you know, you train for so long, and you think you know something, and you think you understand all of it. But the deeper you get into it, the more you know that you don't understand it.
Yeah, and there's a lot of black belts, like, so to kind of go off of that, like Roger, for example, or I've talked to a couple of the black belts, like they just get to it and they just kind of start over at like basic white belt stuff. And like, I don't know, maybe it's like starting over, like you're going to take maybe a slightly different pathway than the game you built to black belt and start venturing off on like me personally, like I don't play close guard. So like in this example, be like when I finally do get a black belt.
That is crazy.
Is it crazy?
With your body type, that is nuts. And you don't. And now that you say that, anytime I'm like, I don't know if he's ever put me in close guard.
Never once, and I never will. But in this hypothetical scenario, when I eventually do get black belt, like I wonder like if I will decide to start over, which I think I will, like just go back to basics and maybe try to create another game and get good at something. And maybe it's close guard. Because right now, like I only play like a really open guard, and if I get to close guard, like before I even cross my ankles, I'll remember like I'm not doing that, and I'll just shift to a hip and I'll play like a nice little open guard on my side, like almost like a Z guard kind of type of deal. But yeah, I would never play close guard. I feel like it, and the same thing. I got that reaction from a ton of people, and I know a ton of people who have great close guards. Our instructor, my instructor who is in Florida, had like one of the best close guards I've ever been in, and like as soon as I got in, I felt like I was in trouble. So like I know it's a great position, but like for me and like my game, I feel like nothing really happens from close guard. Like if you want to sweep, you have to open your guard. If you want to like throw up a triangle or something, which obviously as you get higher up, that's not a really high percentage thing, like triangles and arm bars off the back. So if you take note of that. Also, I'm only a brown belt, so just take me at face value. But you have to open the guard. So like I'd rather just keep my guard open than close it up. And I feel like I'm stalling or like I'm not advancing position, because like I feel like on my back in an open guard, like one, I want it to keep moving. Like I don't want it to slow down. Like I want to catch stuff in scrambles and keep the movement going. So if I leave my guard open and I let you like start to pass, I can find a new look. Or I can start like off balancing and sweeping like scissor sweeps or something, or fishing like the butterfly hook. So, but like again, like a long tangent just for like I should go back and like when I get there, and if I do start over, like maybe I'll pick up close guard. When you got to black belt, like because you said once you got to black belt that you felt like you started understanding positions better, and I felt like that at brown belt. Like it was like a whole new look, and like maybe just like take a different point of view or perspective on jiu-jitsu, or like, man, like I got here by doing this, but like at brown belt I started like really consolidating positions and like using grips a little bit more and doing stuff like that. So like, and you're saying the same thing at black belt, but did anything change like at black belt? Like you started playing a different game or just a different style?
I've recently started playing a different style. And I think too, one thing you got to think about, if you want to be in jiu-jitsu for your whole life,
Yeah.
right? Like white through purple, I was just like a little wound up terrier, right?
Yeah.
Like I was just all teeth nonstop. I had cardio for days.
Yeah.
I could just out cardio guys that were more technical than me.
Yeah.
At brown belt, I had a pretty bad injury.
Yeah. Was that the neck?
That was my neck.
Yeah.
And so that made me, like, brown belt was like a super slow year, or not even year. I was brown belt for like 4 or 5 years.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a long time. But it taught me that like I'm in this for the long haul.
Yeah.
Right. I want to, like, I always say this, like, you're going to pull my dead body off the mat.
Yeah. I tell my kids that too. Like my son, he's been off and on jiu-jitsu for a while, but like I was like, this is like one of those sports you can do your whole life, and you should do your whole life. Like it's not like football to where like you're going to be 60 and obviously like you're not going to go get tackled, or it's going to be really hard to get a game of 60-year-old football players together or something like that. But like you could easily do jiu-jitsu when you're 60 and like develop a game that fits it and be more passive, and obviously not use athleticism.
Your game's always going to change.
Yeah.
Like, so I used to really be into half guard.
Yeah.
And I still like half guard, and I have all that knowledge from half guard.
Yeah.
But I was getting mashed a little bit,
Yeah.
and I was starting to be like, this isn't the greatest. And then through instructionals, I started watching a guy that, Lachlan.
Yeah.
And he was like, yo, man, like, and it's not how he said it.
Yeah.
But he was like, man, half guard's really not that great, especially if you're the smaller player. You don't want to, you've given that larger opponent the inside control. You've given that guy this, that. And that was eye-opening to me, because then I was like, because I was all about half guard and reverse de la Hiva.
Yeah.
And
Which is crazy though for Lachlan to say that, which real quick, no big deal. Met Lachlan Giles. Not want to brag or name drop, but he has instructionals on half guard.
Well, I'm sure he does.
And it's like I guess you should too, being famous. Like you're going to run out of stuff to do.
You're going to play that position whether you want to or not.
Exactly. You're going to have it. It's like the most common position.
Yeah.
Like it's the easiest position to get into, really top or bottom. If you're on bottom, you just extend your legs and grab a leg. If you're on top, you just enter into it as a passing position, like a little hub along the way of passing. So, but. So you got into playing. So you started playing half guard, and then it changed because of the Lachlan Giles thing. What he said.
Yeah, it just kind of opened my eyes, and so I started playing with that K guard a bunch. And
do you still play that?
K guard?
Yeah, I love K guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still go back to some of the sweeps that I used to do, if I'm in that bad position. But I started doing more de la Hiva. I really like de la Hiva.
Yeah.
Like,
I used to have a really good de la Hiva game. Well, maybe not really good. I had a really mediocre de la Hiva game probably, but I really took on to like the Marigali look where he did that deep de la Hiva X, because like long legs obviously it lends to that. And I've always been kind of weird about my knees. Like if I just put a shallow hook in and like really get that hook around like the inside thigh, I feel like if they push too hard, it just messes my knee a little bit. But if I extend it all the way through and get like really strong legs, like I have like it's spread out through my whole leg now. It's not just on that one joint. Then I feel like I can suck them in and out a lot better because I get both legs in there. Mm-hmm. But like I said, the long legs just lend to that de la Hiva X that Marigali does, and I started really going with that a lot. And the baby bolo, if you
I like it.
I love that one. It's like my favorite back take, and I'm also not like a huge fan of like the regular berimbolo, though I want to be. It's just like too many steps along the way. Do you know what berimbolo is?
I YouTubed it once.
Awesome.
I heard Tom
good
saying it all the time.
Tom,
and I'm
I bet,
I want to know what that means.
He's got a really good berimbolo.
I bet he does. So I like to, if I berimbolo, like I get the setup and I invert, but I don't switch the legs to get the hook, to switch the hook and take the back. I just abandon the hooks and I end up in side control. I just use it for a sweep real quick.
That's how I've used it a lot.
Yeah. Anything over like three steps, it's too much. I'm like, I'm not going to do this ever. So.
Yeah, I use it a lot just to sweep. and then sit up. But I do also like.
I think you boloed me today.
Yeah, I do like finishing it.
Almost.
I feel like, well, no, almost. Yeah. I think you started attacking my legs.
Yeah.
And that's my problem with it now is when you really open up the legs and stuff like that.
Yeah. Guys
will just, I mean, they're not going to just relax once you're there.
Yeah.
But as you go to that position, they're going to start attacking your feet.
I watched some good like Mikey Musumeci stuff, and probably some of the Meows too, because obviously they're huge in the bolos. But they just talked about like their foot positioning before they like set it up, and like getting the foot all the way across the hip or going shallow, like freeing the knee line, which obviously they have different takes on it. But like just getting all those things, like those little details, like I don't do because it's past the 2 or 3 steps. I'm like, well, I'm not going to do that. But just to see like all their little critiques and like why they do this, why they do that, why the foot's better here instead of like an inch farther deeper, it's just crazy like people's outlooks on that. And like they have such a better like broad spectrum and point of view than I do at jiu-jitsu, which like I said, if it's 2 moves, I'll do it. If it's 3 moves, I won't. But like they have like steps that's like 10-step processes. And it's just crazy like for someone's mind to work that good. And I'm sure that's what makes them like great at jiu-jitsu.
World-class athletes.
World-class athletes instead of just like a hobbyist in the gym. I did want to get your outlook on. So we had Legacy had that in-house quintet tournament last weekend. I think it was last weekend, right? I've never been a good competitor. Do you? So, and my question, I guess, is like, what your thoughts on this? Obviously, being like an established black belt and being in it for a bit, do you feel like at black belt or any belt level to be, and we're just going to use black belt as like an end of the line scenario, but to be a good black belt, do you think you have to compete good too? Or you can just be a really good hobbyist black belt in the gym?
Yeah, I think you can totally be a hobbyist in the gym.
Whew, thank goodness.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's not fair and it's ridiculous to put that on everybody.
Yeah.
You know, like not everybody is going to be a phenomenal competitor.
And I feel like that's, and I don't want to like admit it though. Like I do admit it. Like I feel like that's me. And like, that's why they asked the question. Like, and obviously like, who better ask the question than like black belts themselves and people who have competed and maybe like black belts who haven't competed. Like obviously competing is good, even if like it was just a one-time thing. I feel like just to get like that real experience and like that different look at jiu-jitsu, because it's a whole different look at jiu-jitsu. Like someone's actually trying to hurt you right now. Mm-hmm. And it's like you're in like a real fight, it feels like. But then like there's just somebody who's just going in, and like I feel like in my personal experience, like me, I'm pretty good in the gym, but then I go compete and I just like shit the bed. And like I feel like I and the big thing we talked about last time is like I just kind of blank out everything, and like I don't remember like when the match is over or like during the match, like I'm like, how did we even get on the ground? Like what happened here? Like, oh, he pulled guard, or like, oh, he took me down. Like I don't remember getting taken down at all. I don't remember him pulling guard. And then the match is over and I'm just like, what happened? To where in the gym, like obviously like, and I think it might be what I was thinking about last night, is I think it might be like I just have fun in the gym. Like that's why I want to do jiu-jitsu, is just to have fun and obviously have like a hobby to do and get out. But like when I compete, I feel like I just kind of compete because I feel like I have to, and maybe just like a mental block in my head. Like I feel like I'm obligated to compete, or I should be, like though I don't necessarily want to. I just think I should, and I think it just makes it not fun for me when I do go compete. So like I don't know, maybe like the nerves or the jitters or something like that get to me, to where like I said, it just makes it not fun. To where like rolling the gym is obviously fun. You've competed a ton in like high school wrestling, right?
In wrestling, yeah.
I've seen some like wrestling pins and like wrestling holds where like they're like Kimoring each other and they're like shoulder locking each other to like get you to give up the pin type of stuff.
True.
So I bet like that there's a huge pain factor. And like how many matches do you watch in wrestling where they come out bloody and like bandaged up? To where jiu-jitsu is not really a thing. Obviously it is,
you
but
see that, man. I've seen a bunch of guys with like their ear taped to the side of their head and their
any
eyes
cyborg
taped
match
shut, like
any ADCC and cyborg match.
Man, I mean, I've competed before with like my hand put together with KT tape. I mean,
do you still compete?
I want to. I definitely want to get back into competing. Brown belt, I slowed down a bunch, and I think I've only competed 2 or 3 times at black belt.
I since white belt, and if you count in-house tournaments, and that's the big thing that makes this number bigger, I've probably competed 5 times, and so that's like on average once a year. But it was twice at white belt, No, 3 times at white belt because we did an in-house tournament at Legacy. And then I competed again at brown belt. So I didn't compete for years. And then I got back in, and I felt like I had a good match at that one. And that one was down in Florida. And I felt like, again, with like the being all into something or all out of something, like it's hard to be all into competing in Alaska because like you're so isolated. There's not like competitions all the time, or you can't travel to a neighboring state and compete. Like you're just limited to kind of 2 competitions a year in Alaska, or at least around here. You just have the 2 state tournaments, the gi and a no gi tournament. So it would be like really nice if like other gyms like start putting on like their own in-house tournaments, or just other people besides like the one major gym. Like I think it's the state tournaments are more like ABJJ put on. It'd be nice if other gyms could get behind that and kind of do the same thing, and like whether it was just an in-house tournament or like a tournament for like all the gyms to kind of apply for, and maybe not as big as the state tournament, but something just a little bit smaller and more low profile, I think would be really beneficial to people.
We're talking about doing a 10-man open weight, open belt, winner takes all, have a really sweet grand prize.
Yeah, like would it be gi or no gi?
I want no gi.
Yeah,
and
everyone should. It's funner to watch.
I don't want to see some, 300-pound Hulk just grab somebody else's gi and hold them down for 10 minutes. Like, I want some action.
Yeah.
The other guys I think we're talking about have it be submission only.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see a little bit. You got to have points. You know what I really like? You got to have something in place.
What I like is what's that? So this isn't one I like. I was just trying to think of something, but it's like fight to win. I really like that rule set because it's just a judges at the end. So that's fun.
That would be good.
Who's number one takes it even a little bit further to make it a little bit better. They use positioning and control as a factor, not just submission attempts. It's like the who's number one rule set, which is just like if you attack more, you win. But if you guys attack the same, but like I had you in side control for a minute and you didn't have a dominant position on me, then I win. So that's fun. Like, so you still get like a kind of like that aspect of points, like, because they do take into some positions into consideration, but it's mostly about who's attacking more. So like that's my favorite rule set. Unless you got into like ADCC to where like they mix it, because like the first half's no points and you can be as free as you want and not be worried about getting in bad positions. But then the points kick on halfway through, so then you do get like people who do want like something to score by. But if it ends in like the no points time, then obviously it's better for everybody. They want to see action, like you said.
I think that fight to win rule set
sounds
like a good way to go. It encourages action.
Yeah.
It encourages people to go for the submissions.
Yeah.
But also to get good positions and keep control.
Yeah. You know what would be another cool thing? And I think I'll remember the name of this like well after this podcast is over, but there was one on, I think it was Flow Grappling, and they usually use like I think kind of a small tournament-based show, but they had a mixture, like a hybrid rule set. And I think they had a tech in there. Like, so like wrestling, like you could tech the guy, right? Like you're just clearly better right now. I think they did involve that for Jiu Jitsu too. So if you got so many points ahead, they were just like, all right, that's it. Which I think that'd be kind of fun too.
That would be good.
Yeah.
I mean.
Because you really want to watch someone win by 30 points. You want to watch Gordon and Ryan go out and mount and transition back to mount to 30 points.
When I was a white belt,
yeah,
I did a tournament in Seattle.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the tournament, but we would show up and you would have gi and no gi in the same day.
Ugh, yeah.
And I did gi. I won gi. I did really good. And then in no gi, I ran into this guy. He was like a college level wrestler. He was super good.
Yeah.
Super good wrestler. And back then, like I said, I was just like a terrier, man. I just keep coming.
Yeah.
And this guy would take me down, almost get submitted, then he'd run out of my guard and back out of my guard.
I've seen that tons of times.
And because I was so... I remember my coach yelling at me, stay down, don't get back up, don't chase him. But I would just like, it was on, man. And I'd get back up and I'd try to guillotine him and he'd take me down.
Yeah.
And I lost 33-0.
Ouch.
Yeah. My first competition at black belt, I have no idea how I did this. I've been competing at 141 my entire time. I've done Jiu Jitsu. Somehow I signed up in the next weight class above. And I ran into a guy named Daniel Pinero, I believe was his last name. He owns, I think it's Shark Jiu Jitsu in Texas or Arizona. He owns like 2 of them.
Yeah.
And he absolutely smashed me. Like, it was awesome. It was an experience. Like, I always try to find the positive in stuff. I was always able to get my guard back. I didn't get submitted.
Yeah.
I had a couple good guard recoveries. But, I mean, from our feet to the end of the match, I mean, he hit me with the planet and he worked me pretty good.
Yeah. And that was at black belt?
That was at black belt.
That's probably one of, like, the hardest, probably bracket to be in, because, like, obviously, like, that's the end of the road for belts to go, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you could be the 4-stripe brown belt, black belt, or you could be the black belt, been a black belt for 10 years.
So I ran into a guy right after my match, and he was a Brazilian guy, and he was everybody's super nice at these things. I love everybody, even Daniel Panerho. So quick story.
Yeah.
I was super aggressive with my takedowns on him. I almost got a single leg on him. We're doing super good. And he was just patient, and he timed everything.
Yeah.
And I was pressing the action, and we were kind of almost out of bounds.
Yeah.
And he hit a throw on me, and I tucked and rolled, but I hit the mat so hard, I saw a huge white flash. And he actually stopped, and he grabs me, and he goes, in a Brazilian accent, it's Jeremiah. Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, bro, let's just get this over with. Like, after he hit that, I was like, I'm about to get wrecked.
Yeah.
But I stayed in the fight.
Yeah.
And all of that. But we were saying, a guy stopped me, and he's the one who told me who he was. And he's like, listen, man, like, that guy was a black belt when I started jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like, don't feel bad about it. And I didn't feel bad about it. Like
there's that
that's
reality
black
of
belt,
like,
man.
well, that's it. Yeah, like I just got my black belt. This guy's been training like, like for 20 years possibly.
No, the guy's probably trained more than that, man.
Yeah. So it's not like white belt where like you're going up against someone who also probably just started or they're not at that next level. Like there's no more levels after black belt.
There's nobody sandbagging at black belt. They're all just, there's guys that have done it their whole life. But so what I want to do is I want to do some of the smaller tournaments.
Yeah.
Not just go, because I did the Masters Worlds and I won a match, and then the next guy I ran into literally cleaned the mat with me.
Yeah.
Like he was doing worm guard,
Yeah.
and like it's all stuff that I've trained and I've studied, and like if some of my buddies at the gym are hitting it, I can fight it and I can pass it. But while he was getting into worm guard, he was already sweeping me. Like he was so fluid and so accurate at it. Like but I'll say too, like I had some things that I took away from that I did very well. Like I was able to get back on top. I was able to escape a bunch of times. I was able to get out of his closed guard a bunch, and he would sweep me and get back to where he wanted to be. But I had some success in that.
Yeah.
And but I'd like to go check out some smaller tournaments.
Just like out of Alaska.
Out of Alaska. Yeah, I'm not so big on competing up here. There's I don't like competing against people that I know.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Do you?
I don't like it. I don't want to know the person. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I just feel like when there's like that personal connection there, even if I know them a little bit, I don't really want to compete with them.
I feel like so I don't honestly just don't like to compete at all. Again, I just do it once in a while, get a wild hair, and and go out and do it for whatever reasons. But I do feel like I would be more comfortable if I knew who I was. Like if I rolled with him before, like I have that like a little bit like, all right, I know your game. Like even if we rolled one time, like I know what I need to do.
I don't even like watching video on the guys. Like my first match, I don't want to watch video on the guy and study the guy. I just want to go out there. Like it's an experience, So when I first started competing, I got wrecked my first 3 tournaments.
Yeah.
And so I had a big stretch, like from after that up until purple belt, where I feel like I was very good at competing.
Yeah.
I won a bunch of stuff. I got golds from tournaments down in the States. I did good at Pan Ams. I did good here and there. But those first 3 matches or first 2 tournaments that I did, I would go out on the mat, I would have an adrenaline dump, and I would have a panic attack.
Yeah.
Right? And so I did this tournament called the Sub League. And my coach, Kurt Trout, who's a super good guy, super good coach down in Oregon, I go, I compete, I take the guy down, I pass his guard, and then all of a sudden I just my brain took a shit.
Yeah.
And I was just a nervous wreck, and the guy got his guard back, and then he triangled me.
Yeah.
And it was embarrassing and whatever. Yeah. And Kurt took me out for a burger and some beers.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, I was doing good in the gym, right? I would tap guys. I would roll real hard. And Kurt was like, listen, man. And he didn't ever directed it at me, but I'm not an idiot. And I understand he was laying this situation out for me. He goes, it's totally fine if there's just a guy there at the gym and he's a killer at the gym, but it's okay that he can't compete. It's okay if not everybody can compete. Not everybody can do this. And I was just like, nah, fuck that. Like in my head, I was like, that's not going to be my situation. That's not going to be my tale. And so what I did to help me in that situation is I love competing because it makes me a wreck. It makes me like a nervous wreck.
For sure, yeah.
And what I started doing to negate that was... we went and did this tournament up in Seattle. It was another sub-leagues, but we had to travel to Seattle. This one was in Seattle. And on the drive to Seattle, I was like, I'm going to have a panic attack. I'm going to go nuts. I'm going to just be nervous. I'm going to get really, really cold. And you know how it goes. And I made myself do it the night before. And I just had a straight up panic attack in the back of this guy's car, laying down with my hoodie over my face. The next day, I wrecked it.
You feel like you just got it out of the way? Huh?
I just got it out of the way. And the next day I woke up and I'll never forget, like I wanted to go compete so bad. The hair on my arms was standing up. And I just went out and took everybody down. And it was a sub-only tournament. And I think at a white belt. This is white belt. Well, it's a no-gi, so it's novice or beginner or whatever. But I think I subbed 3 or 4 of my 5 matches. But I took everybody down.
Nice.
You know, so that might be something that you might want to explore is like, it's inevitable. Like, I'm going to have a panic attack.
I think I spend
Let's do it right now.
I think I spend the whole time like trying to avoid like being nervous about it or like panicking about it and just be like, no, I'm going to be okay. It's fine. But then when it happens,
it's going to happen.
And then, like you said, like you had a big adrenaline dump. And I feel like that's what happens to me every time. And that's when I blank. So either it's like the adrenaline dump or, you know, it could be like I just need to like get the stress and the panic out of the way. Or I just need to do it more because I'm just not comfortable doing it. And I'm not sure what it is. And
a combination of all of them,
all
probably.
of them for sure, and like I said, I don't know if I'm going to compete again. Like, you know, at white belt, like I could have probably just never competed again. And then I got a wild hair at brown belt and, you know, a wild hair to do that quintet tournament. And that's probably just kind of what it'll lead to do. Like every once in a while, it's nice to be like, all right, I need to get this mental workout in. And like, I know I want to go through those jitters and I want to do that. But maybe I need to go through it even harder and like just get it out of the way so I don't have those like mental jitters like once we slap hands. And then I have to deal with it, which it's impossible to deal with then because like you're in the match. And that quintet one was a really tough one because the first match happens and then like you don't get a break. The second person's standing on the side of the mat ready to walk in as soon as you tap the next guy. So like there's no break. So then like my adrenaline dumps happen and now we're in another high intensity situation already. And I'm just like, I don't know what's happening.
Here's what I think about stuff like that. And just like your situation, you know, with getting an adrenaline dump and nerves and also too like how like in that competition in that scenario they're firing people at you. Okay, you did really good. Here's a fresh guy and he's going to come at you. I think stuff like that, and this is why I think competing is important. Not that I think everybody has to compete.
I think everyone should compete at like once though.
But I think I think competition is important because just like so many things in jiu-jitsu, it equips you to deal with stressful situations outside of there, right? Like, if you can step on the mat, like, and I'm going to say a bad word, whatever, I know you guys don't care. If you can step on the mat and deal with that with that mind fuck, right?
You're must.
Oh, gosh. I'm sorry. The ramen sweatshirt just makes you so innocent. I don't want to.
Yeah, Drew's a white belt.
White belts are listening.
You can't do that.
Oh, no. But it equips people to deal with so many more stressful things. That asshole at work. You know, like when you have that confidence, like I've locked horns with somebody else. It's not a fist fight. You're not going to get your nose. You might not get your nose broken. Probability is lower.
Yes.
But when you do that and you put yourself in that high stress situation and you emerge alive, like even if you get wrecked, like you go to work and there's that asshole and you're like, well, this is pathetic. Like this guy has nothing. Like. Or confronting your boss over a promotion or a raise or something. I think like the act of competing and fighting another human being almost, even though I don't think jiu-jitsu counts as a fight.
No, but I mean,
having been in a fight, you know.
It's It's close. Like
it's close.
It's 100% intensity.
Yes.
Like obviously, it's not. We're not kicking and punching and
but
doing that. But
involving yourself in a physical altercation
trying
like
to
that.
hurt you.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the fight might not be the best word for it, but like, hey, it's a close description for sure.
Yeah, I think it is. And for your average Joe,
Yeah.
I think, or Jane, I think that a fight is a good way.
Jane could be a Joe now, though. We'll say that.
Do we got to go there today, boys?
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't care. Earmuffs,
for
Drew.
next episode.
Yeah.
So our instructor, I guess mine, I don't know if I'm considered your instructor or David and I are, or Roger is, but my instructor, Roger, like I said, at white belt, like when I had to get blue belt, like he wanted me to go to other classes, like go to the comp class, go to seminars. At blue belt to purple, he wanted me to go to like different like open mats or something to do that, to get that nervous factor in. And
I think that is a great way to do it.
At purple belt, it was a big one. He wanted me to go to other gyms' open mats. So it's kind of the same thing. Like you need to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Like
absolutely.
Are you and we'll just say like the white belt to blue belt. Are you a blue belt here at 6 a.m. or are you a blue belt anywhere you go? Like, and that's what you need to know. Like, because obviously you get comfortable around with the same people every day or every class. Like, can you go do your game at AGA? Can someone from ABJJ come to Legacy and still be that blue belt that they are with the people they train with every day? So same thing with competing. Like, are you? And that was my question earlier. Like, do you think you have to compete? Like, am I a brown belt at 6 a.m. or am I a brown belt like at the competition too? But they're such different things. So like I'm at that battle right now. Like I feel like you should compete good too, but like with kids and all this, like I feel like my intensity level has just been brought down, and like with daughters especially, like they definitely soften me up, and probably like tons of dads out there. Like there's a difference between having a son and having a daughter. And like after having daughters, it's like, man, do I have that kill or be killed switch anymore? Do I have that like aggressive switch to like fight you as hard as you're fighting me for this position or for this takedown? Because if you try to take me down, most likely I'm just like, nah, you got my leg, you took me down, I'll play guard. But I should probably be trying to fight that takedown as hard as I can. I just don't feel like I have that in me anymore.
Yeah, I'm the same way, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't have kids, but I've had a long relationship, and I've got lots of happy little puppies.
You get like settled in, right? You just get kind of comfortable in life.
I mean, I was just, way back in the day, I didn't even realize it. I was just a buzzsaw, man. You push me, I'm going to push you back.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, yeah. Like, oh, you pushed me, get out of here, loser.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and
you're irrelevant, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
and like that's what I feel like it is for me. Like I just don't have. I don't know if
but
I have it in me.
That's where I think like where we're at in life now. Like if you don't want to compete, don't compete. Right?
Yeah.
If you don't like it, then don't do it. But if you enjoy it still, like, am I gonna go out on the mat and compete like I used to compete, where I was just like nuts? Just like I didn't even realize it. The switch would. The switch would flip and we're going super hard and we're all over the place. I don't know if I could do that anymore.
And that's where I'm. Yeah, like but
at our level, can you do that?
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
If you just go super. So when Daniel Pinero hit me with the planet, it's because I was just bulldogging into him, and he knew all he needed to do was stiff arm, wait, okay, boom, right? You have to be calculated. You have to slow down. Like with your guard's very, very good, especially Nogi. It's very hard to pass.
Yeah.
Okay, this guy takes me down, whatever. Or just pull guard.
Yeah.
Like I think that mentality of like fight super, super hard.
Yeah.
That kind of goes out the window at black belt.
Yeah.
And brown
I think
brown
belt too, yeah.
Like I think it does,
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, who knows?
So not being not having the mindset of a murderer is, the best.
Yeah. I'm trying, like, I don't know if like I'm just want to be content with just being like a really good brown belt in the gym, because like I said, it just takes a different mindset to compete. But like why I signed up for this one, I felt like I was like, man, I do want that little mental workout. Like I want to feel those jitters. Like I want to be uncomfortable and like just show myself like I can get through being uncomfortable. It's like, like why people might go like skydiving and they're afraid of heights, or they might ride the slingshot at the fair or something. Like it's just like you want to feel like that little bit of adrenaline and you want to get through it and feel good after.
We love scaring the shit out of ourselves.
It's so fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I have never. Well, I mean, like music, but even music in itself used to scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like getting on a stage in front of a bunch of people.
I bet, yeah.
I would just fall apart. Like, I mean, once I was on stage, I would have a blast or whatever.
Yeah, but that anxiety leading up to the stage, right? Like, I could get booed right out of here.
I used to throw up sometimes before shows and just, like, horrible nerves.
Yeah.
Horrible nerves.
It's the same thing with competing, too. Like, man, Pinheiro could slam me into the planet, and I could get booed off of the stage or something like that. Like, I could lose by... all the points in the world. I could get embarrassed really bad right now. That's what it comes down to. Like, I could be so embarrassed right now.
There's something about scaring the shit out of yourself that I think is very healthy. The flow state or whatever they call it. Yeah.
It's kind of like teaching too, though. Like you could have like a game plan and like, are you prepared to deal with these questions? Like people are going to ask on the side, like, do I have an answer for this? Everybody's question? I hope I do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, tons of things like really relate to that. So.
Yeah. That's one thing I love about teaching is you'll go into a class thinking you're going to teach one thing and then end up in a completely different.
Oh, something so far off.
Yeah. So just a good example is the other week, we have a Friday comp class that has kind of turned into like an MMA class just because those are the guys who go to it.
Yeah.
And so I had to fill in, and all day I was like remembering old boxing drills. I boxed, almost the whole time I did Jiu Jitsu, I was training boxing. Not like I was a great boxer, but I did it. So I was thinking about drills and stuff we could work on with the guys. And I'm, okay, I only want to work defense and head movement and making sure you have nice long punches and all this stuff. And then I go into the gym, and everybody's got their gi on.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, we heard you were coming, so we want to do gi. Yeah. And I'm like, well, fuck me.
Yeah.
Thanks
for the compliment, but shit, I had a whole thing worked out.
I am ill prepared for this.
Yeah. So you did boxing, you did jiu-jitsu, you said you did martial arts your whole life. Like, was
not
it
the whole life, but for
a long time?
Yeah.
Was it for anything? Like, did you want to do like MMA, or did you just want to get into all these different things?
I kind of just did it to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I did it. Yeah.
What'd you go to school for?
Construction management.
So that's what, and then you're done with that now, huh?
Yes.
What do you have a job? Are you looking for a job, or like what's your goal with that?
I'm a project manager, so I was a sheet metal foreman for close to 20 years.
Yeah.
Doing sheet metal work, and just as time went on, I just realized, you can't do that forever. Yeah. And typically, like down in the States, you work your way up so that you're a foreman on like high rises, and you're doing really, really big jobs, and you don't ever put your tools on, you just run the jobs.
Yeah.
Up here, that's not really an option.
No.
So you're always working, you're always on a roof all winter, or you're not working, or you know. And I just got tired of that life, so I decided to go back to school. And when you saw me, I was actually running a project on that job. So before I even finished school, I rolled into project management.
Yeah.
I mean, the benefit of being a foreman for...
just experience from it, right?
Yeah, just rolled right into being... I mean, most of the time when I was a foreman, I was also project managing the projects.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't just running guys and lining work out. I was ordering parts. I was reading blueprints. It's something I've done my whole life.
Yeah, I had that same experience
whole adult life.
Before I moved to Florida. And this was one of the things that kind of like prompted me to move to get away, was working in that like construction field. And same thing, like ended up being like the field superintendent for a great company up here, Signature Land Services. But like it overran my life, and like obviously in the wintertime we did commercial snow removal, but in the summertime, like you're trying to pack, it's like I said, especially up here, and then like the bosses, like they kind of end up working the same time, like the whole time also. Like it's not just, you put on your nice clothes and you point from the sidelines, like you're in there too. But like construction up here, you're trying to get 12 months of construction into 5 months of the year, and then the next however many months, like it's dependent on weather, and like you're plowing all night or you're not working at all, but you're having to deal with all this stuff. So that's like what got me into getting out and getting a break and trying to start like the whole new career. It's just because kind of like you, like I got tired of like being like doing the work like every day and like slaving away. Like I need like, and there's no future in that. Like you said, like you have to either get like the step up, or you have to do something else. Like you don't want to be like the a 70-year-old roller guy, or it's someone who's just raking asphalt for a living, when your body's probably well past that, and like, is that what you really want to do? Like, maybe you get lucky and you like get a CDL and you can drive truck till you're 70 years old, but like, where's your future in that? Like, how do you get out of that? So we're at just over an hour. So if you want to kind of plug the gym, where can we find info on the gym, social media? We already talked about the YouTube a little bit for people who missed class, or just obviously on YouTube, anyone in general can go watch and see what you guys are doing. But where can like listeners or watchers find info about Grappling Academy?
So the best place to look is on our Facebook, and that's just Anchorage Grappling Academy.
Yep.
Just look it up. Our address is on there. Our schedule is on there. I think they even post the moves of the week and stuff. I'm super uninvolved with that side of it.
Yeah. Well, I think you guys are on Instagram too, but tons of classes throughout the week. I think you guys do a morning class now, obviously lunch classes and evening classes.
Yep.
Open mats on the weekend have been a fun thing over there. Like, been going every Sunday for the last, probably a couple months, or most every Sunday.
We have been having some awesome open mats.
And it's been great. Like,
and you're a huge part of that.
No,
you always bring good guys to roll with.
No, I appreciate you guys opening the door.
Super laid back environment. Like, we're not the competition gym. We're not the guys that want to go crazy, but if you just want to show up, have some good rolls, teach some jiu-jitsu, learn some jiu-jitsu, hang out, make dumb jokes, laugh at each other. Like, I definitely feel like we're the good spot for that.
I honestly think that, like, that's one of the things I love about Grappling Academy is, like, you can go into a room like ABJJ, for example. Like, it's a tough room to go in, like an open mat. They're super hard in the gi. They roll hard, which is great. Legacy, you get the mixture of it, but like also like there's some guys that go really hard in there. Like, Grappling Academy is like just a nice little like easy environment to go into. It's a very relaxing environment. It's open to everybody, and I don't feel like I've ever walked in there or like nervous or like had like any problem walking in there. Like, it's just a good vibe in there, and like I said, that's just one of my favorite things about it. It makes it really easy to go to. So again, if you guys ever want to like check out Grappling Academy, you can find all their info on social media. The open mats every Saturday and Sunday at noon. If you come Sunday, you can find me there usually. Jerry's been there every Sunday, and C's been coming in. Brandon's been there. So, man, please go in and check those out. You just won't regret it. And hopefully next Sunday you'll find Mr. Drew there also.
Thanks a lot for being here, Jerry.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. And I think this idea that you have here is phenomenal. This is a great idea for the culture up here.
Thank you.